Flowing Serenade. While you sat, you wondered about your friends' recent strange behaviors, the eerie chance encounter with the witches and shadow girls, and Crimia's mysterious illness. You were so absorbed in thought that you hadn't noticed a homeless Goron has been walking around the perimeter of the park, or the black leather jackets coming and going consistently from seemingly random streets. You did not notice the purple t-shirts and hooded sweatshirts with elegant and intricate bee emblems on the front and backs. Nor had you consciously noticed the garish yellow tuxedo that stepped out of a limousine, or the cyan bandanas and wristbands that huddled together beside sports cars. All that, which marked the local riffraff, suddenly started standing out after the Goron's umpteenth lap around the skate park. You had sat there for so long, engorged on thought, as if in shock, and quite rightly so, that the scenery around you had started to turn into a story of self-evident lies, drama, and mystery. The afternoon had slipped right underneath your nose, but for a moment of sudden lucidity, you felt like you could see through reality, as if a divine force compelled you to act on and solve the many Hyrulean problems you encountered. Your eyes widened with consciousness as you watched some more, now with intent. A black-jacketed thief had picked the yellow tuxedo's pocket, whom had come to launder money with a purple brawler as part of a reward for his gang for cleaning up the cyan racers up north in Mafia territory, which had moved in on the black thieves' claim and forced them out west, outside of town, and opened up their turf to the Mafia. Even though it took most of the day for these events to transpire, even though you had no direct attention to any of the events until now, so caught up in your own recent experience, you were suddenly and mysteriously aware of all of this. Though you had no genuine proof that what you thought you saw was truly real, you felt it in your heart to be true. And then, as if on cue, the Goron took off his perimeter path to approach you, standing directly in front of you, almost menacingly, just waiting for you to look up at him. You feel scared for a moment and slowly look up to meet the homeless Goron's eyes. No, his belly. You had to crane your neck back to see his grin. The fear melted quickly away when you saw his friendly eyes and sly grin, just as the Goron spoke. "Hi, my name's Link. You homeless too, kid?" It was the beginning of evening now when you looked around and noticed many derelict Hyruleans approaching the park one by one from all directions, and noticed the smell of hot dogs coming from under the bridge behind the Goron. You shook your head to answer the Goron and looked behind him, where you saw a line forming from under the bridge. The Goron's smile beamed, happy to help anyone down on their luck, even if they weren't homeless too, and saw an opportunity to explain the situation to someone who wasn't up to date. The homeless feed. Great people. They come out every evening and cook up some cheap grub for those who have no money. They even accept original rupees exchange, not just that fake paper stuff they have now, with the picture of the royal family on them and stuff. They seem real grateful for those rupees. You fetched a 5R bill from your pocket, sporting an elegant Princess Zelda on the front. Yeah, they don't care about that stuff. No real value for what they do, feeding people. They don't reject it, though. I'm sure they'd buy more food with it, but they seem to not want any funny money. I suppose they have better use for the rupees, you think? The Goron continued as he sat beside your bench, with a merciless thud. You've been sitting out here a real long time for someone who isn't homeless. You got anywhere to go? You're sure to be hungry. Tell you what, I'll give you the rundown on how downtown Hyrule works. If you bring us back a couple hot dogs each. You smiled and got up, getting in line. It was a long wait, for so many people had shown up. You'd had no idea that so many people in Hyrule were homeless, or drifters. Fascinated by the hospitality of the group serving food, you are feeling eager to see them, who they are. Only a few people left ahead of you before you can make out their faces. A familiar-looking young Hylian girl about your own age, and an older tattooed woman with stark white hair who looked Hylian as well, were busy going back and forth between the van with supplies and the tables they had brought out to set up. Featuring a small propane stove and paper plates and plastic silverware, they'd put out beans and condiments for people to self-serve before they handed out the dogs. You slop mustard, relish, ketchup, onions, and chopped peppers onto 4 buns, while the person ahead received hot dogs from the Hylian woman. Now that you're next, the Hylian woman exchanged places with the younger girl who was coming back from the van with more hot dogs to put in the boiling water. You feel that she is incredibly pretty. So much so that you forgot you were in line for food for a moment, and did not understand what she meant when she asked, 4? You blinked a couple times. You look like you must be really hungry. Better make it 5. She was so kind, and put a 5th bun on your plate, filling all 5 with hot dogs. She smiled at you, even with her eyes, and made you feel so strong and important in that brief moment. You beamed at her, smiling back with your eyes too, before getting bumped ahead by the impatient line behind. The Goron, Link, was waiting patiently and watching you. The Hylian Link, the whole time, with which you just noticed, while carrying the dogs back to the bench. Ooh, extras from Zelda, huh? I done saw that. Lucky kid you are. She must like you, he teased. You blush a little and grab a hot dog. Goron Link left it at that and fulfilled his end of the deal. Alright, kid, homeless or not, you got a lot to figure out if you're gonna hang around downtown for long times like this. Luckily, I'm here protecting this here park. Else the purple brawlers might see fit to make an example of you and kick you around. They consider the industrial block by the river to be their turf, and have moved into the commercial buildings across the street recently. If nothing else, that church right across from us will be safe for you. Nobody goes to those places anymore unless they still believe in the 3 golden goddesses. Doesn't matter what you believe, though. That place is still protected from on high. No brawlers, mafias, thieves, racers, or moblins ever go in there if they're not innocent themselves. He ate 1 hot dog in 1 bite. Not bad for being rock-free, he grumbled to himself. So, first things first, kid. Stay well away from the purple ones, with those fancy bees emblazoned on their colors. They're working with the mafia, those ones wearing those awful yellow tuxedos. You might want to keep your distance from them too, but they won't even notice you unless they think you are in possession of something valuable to them. I heard a rumor that they own Hyrule from the underground, manipulate the moblins and other monsters, and that's how they booted the thieves out of northern Hyruletropolis. But anyone who knows the stories knows that they would have to belong to Ganon for that to be true. He laughed at the notion that Ganon would use anything but his own monsters, and ate his second hot dog in just 1 bite like the first. You were barely halfway done with your first. Well, that's that, I guess. Unless... Goron Link licked his lips and grabbed his tiny belly. So small for a Goron. You gonna eat that? He asked about the 5th hot dog. You hold up the plate and offer both hot dogs to the Goron, who takes that as an indication of payment for more advice. Then you need all the information you can get, huh? Guess the next thing you want to watch out for is the racers. They race against the Mafia, who have a few guys in yellow jumpsuits. It's kind of a big deal at the stadium to see them compete, but it's only the side you're supposed to see. What goes down on the streets is much more dangerous and full of violence. Street races is how the Mafia picks the winners and the losers. All betting at the track is fixed from the start. The Mafia doesn't care about the racers' turfs, just their drivers. The ones skilled and stupid enough to get involved at the track at the stadium. The Cyan racers, on the other hand, are as mean and tough as brawlers. Both sides fight for territory. Like I said, the brawlers recently took some commercial turf near here. Was Cyan territory last week. Might be Cyan territory again next week. He ate both hot dogs in 1 bite. The food didn't seem to be worth his time, like gulping down air. He looked miserable, disappointed by the food instead of fulfilled by it. You remember the rupees you'd put in your satchel with the bottle and pulled out the large purple one. The Goron's eyes widened as if he had just witnessed a miracle. Junk food! He shouted. It's no rock sirloin. It's only just better than candy, but I'll tell you anything you want to know if you can keep 'em coming. Goron Link hopped up and stomped a happy dance, shaking the ground beneath him, then held out his hands expectantly. You hand over the sizable rupee and watch, incredulous, as the Goron eats it. As if grinding it into 1,000 pieces, he gnashes and chews. Smaller brown rupee shards sprinkled off as well as one blue rupee and 3 small green ones. Yahoo! He shouted triumphantly. First real food in a week! No one has brought in rupees this big for a long time. Anything purple or bigger is actually nutritious for a Goron. Used to be once in a while folk would give Zelda and Impa some rupees for their service, and they would turn around and feed them to me when they turned purple. A Goron can't survive off the same food as everyone else, which is also why you'll never see a Zora down here at the feed. I stick around because I can keep the violence out. Might be starving, but no one can beat a Goron, but no one but a Goron can beat me. So long as I'm here, the homeless feed goes on as scheduled. The brawlers and racers leave everyone alone, and since no money is exchanged, the Mafia never cared to begin with. And because you fed me a wallop of rock candy today, I'll start you off with a great tip. The thieves in black, and they sometimes wear leather jackets, are homeless just like the rest of us. I told you about the Mafia kicking them out of their turf, right? Guess they had something valuable? Beats me, but they are not as bad as they look. Rumor has it they're working with the Gerudo clan out in the desert. One of them looks like a ninja. Comes around here once in a while, but never talks, stays out of sight as much as possible, and leaves as invisibly as they came. Seen 'em, see me seeing 'em once, and they disappeared into traffic. Guess they don't like being seen, ninjas. But I seen this one doing trade with other thieves, so they must be on the same team, right? Goron Link rubbed his belly some more and smacked his lips. I don't suppose you know where you can get some more of those. I don't care for the green ones, and brown ones aren't even good tasting. You can keep most of the crumbs if you want, he said, picking up the one blue crumb that fell off his purple meal. The Moblin police make sure to remove any and all shrubs and stray rocks from the city, leaving me with nothing to scavenge for. And then he chomped the blue rupee. It's weird, he said with his mouth full. I don't understand why they started doing that, because now I might have to leave and go live in the desert. Getting rid of me can't be their sole purpose. It's just a skate park. You pull out the rest of your rupees and handed them over, smiling. Goron Link stomped about and praised, then gobbled them right up, leaving no crumbs. You pick up a handful of brown rupees and the 3 green rupee crumbs left from his purple meal, and then nodded in departure, and slowly walked home, taking in the environment, keeping watch on the activities around you, eyes open for the first time. You sat at that park well past sundown before realizing the time. When you finally got home, sometime past 2200 that night, your mother was waiting at the kitchen table, worried sick. You'd opened the door and tossed your satchel beside it, but your mother was in a joyous panic. Oh, Link, you're home. I was so worried about you. Where have you been all day? I got a call from Crimea saying that you'd been a big help at the ranch, but that was all I've heard from you since. That was 12 hours ago. She ran up and squeezed a worried, motherly embrace around you, then sighed both with relief and regret. You're growing up fast. Too fast for Mom to keep up with you anymore. Guess it's time you got some more freedom, huh? She said with a smile and a heavy heart. Your allowance isn't going to be enough for you anymore, and I thought of you when I saw this old Hylian-style wallet. I was so worried about you, but I thought it through. I think the wallet helped me come to the conclusion that you're going to be a man someday. She continued, speaking more for herself than for you. I think you'll be better able to learn about growing up with a bigger wallet, she said, handing it over. It's not much, but I feel I'd feel better knowing that you had something to stay in touch with your mommy. Inside it was a Game Boy. You stare at it for a while before pulling it out. You can only call home right now, but if you bring it to me later, I'll add your friends' numbers. But you need to only use it in emergencies, okay? You stare at it a moment longer before looking her in the eye and nodding in affirmation. At the dinner table, a cold plate of pasta sat on the table in front of the chair you would have sat in that evening. You can still warm it up, it'll still be good. I had it covered when you didn't show up for dinner, she said as she was ascending the stairs. I'm going to bed, so are you, as soon as you finish eating, washing and changing into your jammies. You smile and rolled your eyes, both sarcastically amused and genuinely happy. Plus the pasta was great and just exactly what you needed.